in the garbage. But chucking away that slightly odd-looking apple isn't the end of the story. It begins a cycle of waste that affects not only the environment, but farmers and small-scale producers in what we call the broken food system. And you and I play a larger role than we think. Almost 1/3 of food produced is either lost or wasted. In countries like Australia, most of this occurs after we've bought food. Factors like a busy lifestyle have meant that we don't stop to think about the food we consume or throw away. Australia creates food waste that amounts to $8 billion each year. In New South Wales alone, each household throws away more than $1,000 of food per year. Think of 500,000 cars piled up on top of each other, and then imagine that this is wasted food. In New South Wales alone. That's a lot of food. So, other than a big waste of money, what's the problem? Wasted food puts pressure on our environment. Greenhouse gas emissions are created from growing, fertilising, transporting and storing food, but also through decomposing unwanted food. And what about water? Throwing food away is like leaving the tap running. It's a huge waste and is contributing to environmental degradation the world over. So how does this relate to the fact that 1 in 8 people in the world are hungry? The links are more direct than we might imagine. In particular, small-scale farmers who are reliant on predictable weather are the hardest hit. These farmers and their families can't grow enough food to eat or earn an income when these dramatic weather events wipe out their livelihoods. As you can see, that rotting apple and a hungry farming family are connected. While it's not a solution to collect all this unwanted food and distribute it equally, by simply cutting back on food waste, we can help ease pressure on our already broken food system and make tangible steps to a fairer and more sustainable food system. This year, Oxfam Australia and the New South Wales Environment Protection Authority invite you to be part of the solution. The EPA's Love Food, Hate Waste program provides information to households and businesses about food waste and suggests practical ways to reduce it. But that's just the beginning. We need you to help people to take action. We need you to use your ideas and skills to come up with some innovative solutions to tackle this complex social and environmental issue. Then together, we can make your idea a reality. Whether it is a design, marketing concept, or communication strategy, your solutions have the potential to become a local or national campaign and to reach thousands of people. Young people aged 18 to 24 are some of the biggest food wasters, throwing away approximately $26 worth of food each week. But they also have the greatest potential to come up with solutions to this problem. We want you to target your solutions towards young Australians in a way that excites and inspires them to reduce how much food they chuck out. The best designs and ideas will be chosen by experts and industry leaders. This is an opportunity to showcase your talent, win prizes, and have your solutions brought to life by individuals and organisations working on solving the food waste issue. Check out the solutions that other people are submitting and get yours reviewed by the community, including industry professionals and mentors. Go to the Design for Change platform, read the full brief, create a profile, and start sharing your solutions.
To be here amidst such incredible people. I'd like to share with you an ancient Hebrew hymn, Avinu Malkeinu, which I heard when I was a boy and found the melody beautiful and haunting, but it wasn't until I was older that I learned of the meaning that it really struck a chord deep within. In particular, a message found within this hymn, a plea, if you like, which says, "Instill me with a greater sense of compassion so that I may be liberated." And this link between being a more compassionate human being to being a freer human being is one that I found poignant and that stayed with me. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu ve'aneinu, ki ein banu masi. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu ve'aneinu, ki ein banu masi. Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed. Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed ve'hoshienu. Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed. Aseh imanu tzedaka v'chesed ve'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu.
Thank you. Well, on behalf of Lior. Sorry. The first time I heard that song, I experienced a sense of awakening. Perhaps there was something in its ancient strains that triggered some remnant of Jewish heritage in my bloodline. Or maybe it was the warmth and power of Lior's performance. Or it might have been the context of the event in which I heard it, a fundraising concert for the Smugglers of Light Foundation that was planned to coincide with the 12-month commemoration of my son's death. Whatever the reason, having found myself locked in a state of pathological grief for the previous 12 months, incapable of finding my way in music or in much else actually, that night when I heard Lior sing that song, I felt an awakening, an urge to be part of something bigger than myself. When I asked Lior's permission to take the song and make an arrangement of it, little did I realise that this would form the catalyst for a rich and fruitful collaboration some years down the track. This act of taking a pre-existing work, a song in fact that like a diamond had been forged by the ravages of time into a thing of great beauty, and having the opportunity to reinvent it, to find a new context for it, was actually, and to be able to do that with hand in hand with Lior, whose work I admired for a very long time, was my very first step back into music, back into the act of composition. When I played my ideas to Lior for the arrangement, quite a big, bold, sort of symphonic realization of the work that I tried to imbue with the same sense of drama and nuance that he brings to this wonderful song. We both felt excited about the idea of exploration. And so with the lofty ideal of compassion as our guide and our collective experiences in music forming our intuition, on the one hand, Lior, the troubadour, songwriter, composer of bittersweet indie pop songs, myself with a background in classical, film and symphonic music, we embarked on a 2-year journey to write a symphony for voice and orchestra, a song cycle, if you like, a thing that we call Compassion.
Nigel and I first presented the orchestrated version of Avinu Malkeinu to the Sydney Symphony Orchestra, hoping that they might consider presenting it as a short work. Peter Chorney, the artistic director of the Symphony Orchestra at the time, actually came to Nigel and I and suggested that we consider expanding the work into a full-length piece and offered for the symphony orchestra to commission the work. And that was something Nigel and I were very excited about. And we said yes, knowing that this is an opportunity that we couldn't miss. After the initial excitement wore off, we sort of looked at each other and went, what did we just say yes to? So we knew that we didn't want to simply gather more ancient Hebrew texts and write music to it, because whilst we recognised that the power that Avinu Malkeinu emanated had something to do with the fact that it gave us an insight into the richness and wisdom from its ancient religion, its ancient world, we didn't want our piece to be steeped too heavily within any particular religion, faith, or stream. And above all, we really wanted to present a poetic and humanitarian expression about the idea of compassion, one that would have true universal resonance. Nigel and I discussed many ideas, and we landed upon one that we were both excited about. What if we were to get ancient Arabic texts from the world of Islam and put it side by side with Hebrew texts and weave them seamlessly through a song cycle, through an orchestral song cycle? I must say that initially I was filled with doubt, not only because I didn't know whether I would find these texts, these poems and proverbs that I was searching for, but being a fluent Hebrew speaker, I understood what Avinu Malkeinu meant. I could read into its message. I had an insight into the world that it was from. How could I aim to do so with a language I don't understand, with a religion that I don't know? And so I remember saying to Nigel, I'll research the texts, but we're going to need to get another singer to sing it alongside me. And Nigel was very adamant and said, no, it's got to come from one voice, it's got to come from your voice. And I thank him for that. And so began the research process. And the first poem that I uncovered was a beautiful Arabic poem. And the deeper I looked into it, I actually found that it had a lot of conceptual and thematic similarities to Avinu Malkeinu. But not only that, it had linguistic similarities. I actually could understand several words. I could understand the origins of certain words. And that gave me the energy and the drive to keep researching. And the more I did look into it, the more I surprised myself by how these two seemingly different worlds had so many similarities and so much shared ground. A few months later, I had collated a body of texts, poems, proverbs, and hadith, or sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, and we began the task of writing melodies to them.
Once Leo had discovered a text that he was comfortable with, he'd live with it for a little while and evolve a melody, which he would then record and send to me as an audio file. And then I would take these files and weave the orchestration around them. Apart from Avinu Malkeinu, all the other pieces are freshly composed melodies. Yet to me they had what Leo was sending me had a real sense of antiquated wisdom about it. Like he'd been exhuming these things, the beautiful treasures from the cave on the banks of the Red Sea or something. More often than not, they spoke to me demanding a particular musical approach, very individual. And so each of the movements of the song cycle have a very particular character unto themselves. I could hear Leo working very much outside of his comfort zone, actually extending his vocal range and experimenting with colours and textures in his voice that I'd not heard him use in any of his previous work. It was an inspiring way for us to work, and by ping-ponging our ideas to each other, once I'd set a particular phrase with orchestration, I would send it back to him. He would then add bits, send it back to me, with each time trying to outdo each other. I think we were surprised by the results that we achieved in those couple of years.
We'd like to leave you with a short excerpt from the premiere of Compassion, which was recently performed here in this very room at the Sydney Opera House. What you'll see is a short excerpt of the fully orchestrated version of Avinu Malkeinu, which ended up to make up one of the 7 movements of Compassion.
אבינו מלכנו, חננו ועננו, כי אין בנו מעשים. אבינו מלכנו, חננו ועננו, כי אין בנו מעשים. עמנו, צדקה וחסד. עמנו, צדקה וחסד, והושיענו.
My name's Glenn Tozer and I'm coming to you from the city of Gold Coast in southeast Queensland, Australia. Today's the launch of the Australian Compassion Council's national vision for Australia, a continent for compassion. Mayor Tom Tate from our council and the whole council is excited to be a part of this movement. We're the most recent city to sign the International Charter for Compassion, an important document that helps organisations and governments bring compassion into the conversation with all of their decision making and their everyday business. As we thought as a city what we should be doing about this, we thought about the things that we were already doing. We're already engaging our young people through the Junior Council, helping them make decisions as part of our city. We've also got the Accessible and Inclusive City Strategy, which helps us find ways to make mobility an important issue for citizens of the Gold Coast, connecting our people with mobility issues to the beach and parks and places like that. Finally, only just recently, we also were named the World Kindness City. A World Kindness City is a city that cares about all these sorts of things, but also appoints an ambassador that can promote acts of kindness throughout the city and make sure people who are doing awesome things get recognised in our media and across the city and community. But it's not just about the things that we're already doing and the programs we've already got in place. It's about moving forward and bringing compassion into the everyday conversation. So what about your city? What can you do to bring compassion into your business, into your government, into the things that you do in your place of work or the places you like to visit with your family? We're working with Terry and Lynn from the Australian Compassion Council on a variety of activities that can inspire and motivate our community to get involved in these initiatives. The first is the Compassion in Healthcare event, which is being hosted just this month, where we'll be engaging with a bunch of healthcare providers from around our city and further afield and talk about compassion in their workplaces. Also, we've got the Compassionate Universities Symposium, being hosted by Griffith University and partnering also with the Centre for Interfaith Studies. It's going to be a great event where we can talk about our university and education sectors, tertiary education sectors, primary education, secondary education, and how compassion can be brought into everyday teaching methods and the student body. They're both really exciting events, and I know that your city could engage in projects just like those. We're encouraging every city listening today to sign the Charter for Compassion and get involved. Finally, we're convinced that our community's quality of life is vastly improved just by starting these conversations, just by thinking about bringing these conversations to the forefront of how we make decisions. The scientific research shows us that when we learn compassion and we practice it, we're actually happier, we make better decisions, and then values like peace and justice and kindness become core to our being, and our cities are better places to live.
So I am thrilled to bring to the world Heather Joy Bassett, who Summer and I met in Australia just a few months ago. And I was so moved by you and the vision you have and what you're bringing to the world. You introduced to me the art of sprucing, the idea of speaking your truth with love and compassion. And I've had a direct experience of how powerful this is. And we're going to show a video in a couple of seconds about it, but I wanted to give you a chance to talk about the difference you've seen that it makes in people's lives.
Okay. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back on you, because I share about it in the video, and I would love the audience to actually hear and roll with this. And because I know you've spoken to other people who are also sprucing, so I would love the audience to hear how it's also changing things for you, and why you find it so simple, not always easy, but simple. And yeah, what's it bringing?
Well, warning, it is contagious. This is what I found, is that once you kind of open up the safe space to say how you really feel, people want to know the real truth. And we live in such superficialities often that sometimes in the most mundane situations, I told you one time I was just in a store working with a sales clerk, and I just kind of said, wait a minute, I'm going to tell you my real truth here. And it was amazing how it turned into this kind of bonding experience. And I ended up leaving the store with exactly what I wanted, and came home with what I wanted, and felt so good about it. But it's kind of a sign of our times that we're so used to holding back or not knowing how to really share how we feel, that actually naming it as a practice. And I've introduced this to my family, and they love it. And we're finding ourselves sprucing and say, oh, maybe it's time I need to do a little bit of sprucing here. And so sometimes it's not just the difficult conversations that you've been holding back on, but like I said, any kind of conversation is going to be enhanced. It's like climate change, for a family situation.
Yeah, and that's what I found. It is from the boardroom to the bedroom. It is everywhere when we can share that. And there was this one time I can really look back on, and where I'd been in a really dark place for a long time, and it was actually one of my doctors, he said, "You're being bullied." And I was like, yeah, I am, aren't I? And it was the most liberating, joyous thing that this guy with love and compassion said that to me. And then suddenly the possibilities were there, and I was like, oh my goodness, like that is so true. And I had so much joy around it because there were possibilities. And then when I was sharing about that with my family, then what it allowed me to do was take full ownership of, I wasn't being bullied. I had given away my power. I had given away my voice. I had given away my dignity. So I was able to reclaim myself. And I can remember bouncing around in the lounge room here going, look, there's two versions of this story. Well, there's more, because I can share two versions of it, but so can the other person involved. And it's like, the importance was that there was love and compassion as I spoke about this person that I love dearly in front of people who love both of us dearly, and went, whoa. And a lot of people, if they were talking about being bullied, it would be a really heavy, really soul-destroying thing. And for me, it was one of the most joyous, liberating moments, because a word you often use is agency. And for me, it's responsibility and taking ownership. And from that space, like the possibilities of transforming lives, of transforming yourself, creating possibilities. And I can see it happened in my workplace, it's happened in my family. I hear the stories from you, I hear the stories from others. It's a really profound thing. And so for people who want to deepen their connections with people, but deepen the connection with self, because then when we do that, we can literally shine in our brilliance. We can be in our flow. We can be in our zone of genius because we're not shoving stuff down inside. And as yet, I haven't come across anyone the same as you who's like, whoa, okay, better take a look at this.
Yeah. No, for me, it's like dynamite. It kind of blows away, the barrier to getting to what you really want to get to. And subtle and powerful, and to introduce even the idea, because it's a new word for people. So people mean, what are you talking about? And that's why it's a perfect entree for introducing such a powerful and simple idea. The withheld communications is such a source of suffering. And the genius of what you've done, Heather, is giving people something easy to understand and to do, and yet at the same time, profound. So I'm excited to share with everybody this video that goes into more detail.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Heather Joy Bassett. I'm a world champion in lacrosse, a former podiatrist, a funky grandma when I'm not in a funk, a speaker, mentor, and author. I help leaders and visionaries create safe spaces for their family, for their tribe, for their community, so that can filter down through a safe space to be vulnerable, to be courageous, speak their truth, to open to new possibilities. Spruth is the art of speaking truth with love and compassion, and the doing it is spruthing, and then creating cultures where we have a spruth culture, where people know that they're safe to explore and speak from that place. How it came about, I was to have a disruptive idea for something, and it was like, I don't have a disruptive idea. I have no idea what I can offer the world. And then I put it out to the universe. I literally said, okay, cool. What's my disruptive idea? What is it? And I got this download, Spruth. It's like, cool, S-P-R-U-T-H. Like, great. What is it? And so then I went on a journey, because it's like I've done spruiking, speaking the truth is important, but spruth. And I asked my daughter, I said, hey, you've got this word, spruth. And she's like, no. Like, yeah, but no. You can't make up a word, Mum. And I was like, seriously? Like Google, Apple. And she's like, no. And I was like trying to link out, like, the universe has given me this word. What is it? And then I remembered back at my book launch, my first book's A Cosmically Juicy Life. And one of the guests there asked me what the book was about. And I said, it's just my first 59 years. And he said, but if there was a message? I was like, maybe hope, faith. Yeah, but if there was a message? I was like, So I stopped and I thought about it. And I felt it. And then I said, permission to speak the truth. And he said, I have no hesitation doing that. And I sort of went, you don't, do you? And it felt really off. And then out of my mouth came with love and compassion. So when I learned Spruth is the art of speaking truth with love and compassion, it was like this massive download of like all these events that I could see in my life where speaking the truth with love and compassion had shifted things, opened things, healed things, connected things. So, and it's literally the boardroom to the bedroom, family, community, tribes, workplaces, parents with children, children with parents. It's like, where isn't there a space for that? And then I look at, there are a lot of spaces for speaking truth, which is slamming other people, slamming governments, slamming people. And I'm like, wow, that is so not what Spruth is. And then there's an art to it, which is, again, is that stopping, checking, are you safe? Are you safe externally? Because you don't want to stop in the middle of the freeway, that's not too good. And then check, are you safe within? Have you committed to live this life in this body? And if you haven't, then it's really important that you do it now. Commit to living, make sure you're safe. And the next one is to listen to the thoughts that are looping around and around in your head. And because there's a lot of information about expansion, meditation, positive thinking, all this stuff. But for a lot of people, there's stuff underlying which is just not being expressed. It's like, yeah, happy, this facade, this mask. living a lie, and it just doesn't work. I know, I tried it. So from that place is really, what are your thoughts? And then how does it feel in your body? So what's it doing to you? Where is it tense? What's happening with your bones, your muscles, your nerves? Are you feeling angry, sad, scared, or joyous? And a lot of people say they're not angry, and it's like, great, anger is your boundaries. So if we don't have anger, we don't have any boundaries. We're not allowed to be sad, we may as well be a robot. Sadness is the empath. Sadness is the lover, the connector of humanity. So it's really important to have that. And then we have fear. If we don't have fear, you can walk straight in front of a bus. Boom. And then joy that underpins it. So it's like you've stopped, you're safe. You check what are your thoughts, you really listen to them. And then how's it making you feel? How tense are you? Where in your body are you feeling this? And then from there, it's explore what you're going to speak. Now, a lot of people will journal, do all sorts of things, but not speak. And if you journal it, there was one of my clients that said, well, you've written this great letter, how about you speak it? And it's like, oh, I can't speak it. So the speaking is the most important bit. And it's with love and compassion for self, but also who do you want to speak it to? So from that space, then we can ask for what we need. So when we're speaking, it may be that you just walk down the street talking, I feel, I think, I believe, just into the ether. Again, not when you're crossing a freeway, make sure you're safe. And then you can maybe do it to a video or even to a mirror. So it can be quite difficult to speak to a mirror about what's deeply true for you. And then when you're ready, it's speak to the person that you believe needs to hear it. And from that place, we can ask for what we need. Do we need them to simply witness us, to validate us, or to give us possibilities? And again, speaking from such a place of love and compassion for self and for who we're speaking it to. And the most profound thing with truth is that when you speak truth with love and compassion, is instantly it can change. It's no longer your truth. It's like, wow, it's liberating. It's freeing. But when it's stuck in your head and stuck in your body, imploding, there's no possibilities. So Spruth can instantly change, creating possibilities. You feel unburdened. And then it's like, cool, what's next? There's just new things that we can explore. So whether it's the bedroom, the boardroom, family, parents, tribe, organisations, if we bring a Spruth culture in, then there is never another suicide. We don't lose anyone. Everyone comes with us for the ride. Spruth is also an incredibly joyous thing. So when I had that download of the pieces of the puzzle, there's nowhere that Spruth doesn't fit into this world. Or at least nowhere I've found yet. So Spruth literally is a download that I got, but what it also was is speaking truth. And it's the combination of those. But the beautiful thing is I didn't create that. It was a direct download from somewhere. Yeah, Spruth is a combination of speaking truth. Spruth. Hey, the best place to find me is on Facebook. And if you want to contact me, please just send me a private message. It's a really easy way for me to connect with you.
when I learned about forgiveness, it was such a big impact on me. When my eldest son, he would have been 54 now, when he passed away at the age of 40 in year 2000. My sister-in-law rang me up from down in Victoria, a little place called Druin. He rang me up, or she rang me up, and she was sobbing, and I said, "What's up, sis?" She said, "That Tony," that was the name of my son, "that Tony," she said. And the first thing I said was, "Okay, what did the mongrel do now?" Because that's how we talk, about our kids and that, in that sense, And she said, he hung himself. And I stopped. And the first thing I said was, "I forgive you, son. I forgive you for what you've done. I forgive you for what you're causing your family at this moment. The auntie who is now ringing me up and can't speak. I forgive you for bringing sadness on your mother and father, your brothers and sisters, your cousins, your 2 children and their grandchildren. I forgive you for all these things, your nieces and nephews, your uncles and aunties. And most of all, I forgive you for going before your grandmother. So I forgive you, son, for causing all them pain." And I left it at that. And that was important to me. It was so important for me, just at that precise moment. And that's where I learned that wonderful art of forgiveness, And it is a great thing to practice. I'm not talking about it, but you must practice it.
kuanga kangar kungeyango yo walala ngar kuanga ngar kupaparu Gani Gangara Koko Koko Koko
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله
Bruised by betrayal, broken trust. Higher lessons for the two of us. We will learn and we'll shine. And we'll grieve the people leaving us behind. We'll be forced to grow. Contracts unwind. Well, somehow we will find a way through the river, and we'll get to the other side. All these rivers we must cross. All these rivers we must cross.
Please stay around. We've got a little function happening around the side, thanks to Robert Love and the beautiful people at Riverside Theatre. Thanks again to Uncle Max and Uncle Greg for their welcome. And thank you most of all for coming and being part of it. Thank you.
शांतिर अन्तरिक्षम् शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्तिः विशधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिर् विश्वदेवाः शान्तिर् ब्रह्म शान्तिः सर्वं शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः सामा शान्तिरेधि ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः शान्तिः
And always. It is always here. It is always now. Breathe in, breathe out. All places arise in peace. All times arise in peace. All feelings arise in peace. All thoughts arise in peace. All sights, sounds, smells, and tastes arise in peace. All joys and sorrows arise in peace. All births and deaths arise in peace. Breathe in, breathe out. Your body arises in peace. Your mind arises in peace. Your emotions arise in peace. Your entire past, your entire present, and your entire future all arise in peace. Breathe in, breathe out. All pleasures and pains arise in peace. All desire, fear, anger, sorrow, and doubt also arise in peace. Breathe in, breathe out. All love, kindness, forgiveness, healing, and compassion arise in and are perfect expressions of peace. All understanding and wisdom arise in and are perfect manifestations of peace. All sincerity, truth, and honesty arise in and are perfect reflections of peace. Breathe in, breathe out. All of these things arise and disappear in peace. Before, during, and after all thoughts, all feelings, sensations, perceptions, experiences, what always remains, what is never born and never dies. Breathe in, breathe out. After all things fall away, what is eternally here and always present? This peace is what you are. This simply is the truth. Understand this deeply, and the battle is over. Understand this without reservation, and there is no more struggle. Realize this fully, and the search has come to an end. Breathe in, breathe out. We are all peace. We are all one. We are all peace. We are all one. We are all peace.